Well, this is the making of Horrormail Part 3. So I'll now tell you how far I've actually gotten. There's actually been a lot of good progress made. So, in case you don't know, Horrormail is going to be an anthology film. That means it'll have more than one film within it. And it has a framing idea around it which forms it into an anthology film, okay? So it's a film with more than one story. And at the present moment in time, I've actually managed to film all the scenes for the first story. So they're all filmed, yeah. They're not put together yet, but they will work and they'll all fit together because it's all been planned out. There haven't really been any complications there, but this does lead to one issue I hadn't really thought about. What do I do with all of the different scenes? Because on one side it's straightforward, I just take them and make them into the film, then put it in the anthology and that's it. But the other thing is, do I actually release these as clips? Okay. It may be a good idea to release them as clips so people can see the clips to promote the film. That would mean there wouldn't be an order. I'd have to take maybe some key ones out. But they'd be there and they would be probably on YouTube for people to see. Okay. But like I said, they'd be put in such a way that they wouldn't form that story. You wouldn't know how to put them together. They'd just be separate parts. Yeah. But the thing is with that, again, when I do that, if I do that, do I do that before the film or afterwards? Because if I do that now, a lot of people may say, that's great, I want to see the film when it's not actually available. Yeah. So that presents an issue there also. And so you can see there's many different facets to this. So, I mean, it's been filmed, that first one. Like I said, I've got to fit it together. So there's other 3 to do, and I've got the whole framing idea to film as well. So technically I'm sort of like a fifth of the way through. Although in reality, I suppose I've probably still got to fit it together, which shouldn't take that long. Also still there'll probably be other challenges ahead for the other films. But like I said, I'm probably about a fifth of the way through. But again, it comes down to promotion. In a way, this is partly the promotion. Helps to build an audience for the film. So it's a good idea, anyone that listens to this and watching it, to, put links on other websites. Because, anthology films like Horrormail won't get made unless people support them. And that means, helping people to find it, to find these documentaries about the making of it. But to also, to watch it, to rent it or buy it when it's out, to watch it, that's the important thing, to put links so other people can watch it, because, I love anthology films. I think a lot of people like them as well. But, for this to happen, it has to be moved forward. But I'll go through some of the stages of what I did so far. First, I had to write all of the stories for the film. And I came up with the framing idea. As I mentioned before, I made it so that these stories are, in many ways, based around, like as if it was a book, like an audio book, but it's not an audio book, but based around that and then turned into a film idea, okay? And that means, of course, you need to split them up into scenes. So they're split into scenes, yeah? And what happens in each scene has to be planned out. So you have to do that first, which is what I've done. And of course, like I said, the framing idea has to go together. There has to be something that picks it together and makes it interesting for people. So I've done that also. I'm trying to think as well other things that need to be doing, yeah. What I also need to do, of course, is the camera. This is a DSLR, and I've got something which records the sound. So when I'm doing this, the sound is actually separate from the video files, so I'll have to align them. So I tap my hands to help me align the files. Okay, that bit's cut off normally. Okay, but of course, the making of it is part of the process, because I'm hoping that not just me, but other people will learn about, how you can do this. Not the only way. I don't think this is the only way of doing it, but one way of doing it. I do realise I have the strength that I am an author, I'm a professional author, so it helps, I think, with the script. But it's also a different medium as well. It's not the same thing as a book, although there will be an ebook version of it will come out, which won't be exactly the same. because it won't be able to be, but it will be similar. And that'll also come out as well at some point. That'll come out at the same time as the film comes out. And that's another thing as well. I'm targeting this to be a feature-length film. That's what I'm trying to target it at. But it's not going to be a long feature-length film. Think more like the length of films in the 1980s or the 1990s when they're a bit shorter, you know. Because now sometimes over 2 hours, I'm thinking you want a shorter one, but still feature-length. I think there's advantages and disadvantages with that. I suppose the disadvantages is probably film festivals, I think probably like shorts. Okay. The advantages, I think most people tend to watch still feature-length films. That's what people watch, you know. Yeah, people sometimes have time to fit something short in. But people's days are still sort of divided up into certain chunks in the mind, you know. So it helps with that. So it'll be something you'll be able to watch on the night for entertainment or whenever you want to. You'll be able to put it in and watch that as a feature film, which is what it'll be. Another thing is, so far what there's only me, so I've been doing this single-handedly, which hasn't been as much of a handicap as people would think it is. I know everybody says you need lots of people, but it depends what you're doing, okay? Depends how you plan it out. Because I really picked this and the way of doing it so that it would be doable by one person, so that it wasn't going to need a vast quantity of people. Because, you know, you can make it impossible for yourself early on, you know. If you're doing something on your own, you can make it impossible, whereby there's just no way you could do it. But I didn't do that. You know, I knew how to work it out and I thought about it, so it's doable by one person. And it's not when there's one person you can't film things. It's just, you don't necessarily just film yourself, you know. You can film yourself doing things. You can film actions taking place. There's a lot of stuff you can film that isn't actually yourself to tell a story. You know, people always imagine that stories are, and films have to have lots of people. That actually don't. There's many things nowadays, you know. You know, there's pictures and things that people use and take photographs. You know, I mean, I haven't used any animation as such so far, but you can use animation. You know, you can film actions being taken. And I do understand now a lot about how the art film movement came about. Because the art film movement came about because people didn't have much money and they didn't have facilities, and so they did things a certain way. And although this isn't an art film, I can understand how it happened. I really can. Because you know, it's easier sometimes to do things certain ways than another way. You know, which I think is why it's a good idea that I'm drawing on a good solid set of stories, you know, spoken out loud for people to hear and understand, because in that way it doesn't become avant-garde. No matter what I do, it has a solid structure and it's got, you know, something which is happening, which people can understand, and so it doesn't fall into that category. But I can understand how it would be quite easy to do that. In fact, I think it's probably easier for a lone filmmaker to make something which is avant-garde than not to, actually. It's probably simpler. It's simpler to make an art film than not to. Because, you know, you don't need the same facilities. You can do with a lot less. Also, for arranging scenes, it is a good idea to arrange scenes. I did think at one point whether you could just film it in one bit and just take parts out and take the video parts out and add parts in. But I realise now it is best to do it in scenes. Okay. It's not as straightforward as this, where there's just me and a camera. But it is a good idea. I didn't use a classic storyboard as such for this. And the reason was, I described the sort of thing that I wanted, rather than have a full storyboard. And I think the reason was, a storyboard it tends to suggest a lot of shots and a lot of scenes. And I didn't want too many shots in that, you know. I didn't want to create too many shots, just to simplify it down, basically. So the first story has about, I think it's 22 different scenes to it. And that's like 1/5 of it. But if I'd done a storyboard, I think that could naturally have increased to 50 or even more, you know. So I think the thing is there, but when you base it around the story, you don't necessarily need as many shots than you would do. Because I have realised that with this stand I have, it doesn't seem to be great for moving the camera around. You know, it tends to shake. It's very good when it's standing still like this, but it's not very good when you move it. So everything has to be shot as a fixed position like that, instead of like panning around and up and down. It doesn't work that well. So in place of that, you have to do either pictures and move the pictures around, or you know, you've got to just like film different shots from different places as well. And I've realised that as well. You can get an idea of movement using static pictures, because sometimes you really don't have enough time or where you are to do a film where you can do pictures. And you can move pictures nowadays, you can move them up and down. Really, when you think about it, using the same lens, using the same everything. And if something is an object which stands still, then, you know, moving it tends to look the same actually. It tends to look pretty much the same as if you were moving the camera. But like I said, camera, when you're moving, they tend to shake a little bit, or this one does using this stand. Okay. I think it's probably, if you need some sort of cord attached or something, to take elastic or something, somewhere to try and remove some of that down. It's not always easy to keep it so it's, you know, so it's moving like that. It tends to shake tiny, and the slightest shake tends to show up as well. Okay. But most of all, I feel I've made good progress, but I'm moving on to the next stage, okay? So this is part 3, but it's not the end of Horrormail, and I will move on to the next stage. But like I said, you can help me a lot if you know, put links to this video on your site, you know, on your social media helps a lot. Share it on your social media and all of the other making of Horrormails, because it'll help it build up an audience and it'll help it happen. But also, it won't just mean that I will be able to make more anthology films, hopefully, you know, if this one is a success, but it'll mean that probably other people will as well. You know, other people will realise that this doesn't have to be, you see, this is another thing as well when you're filming. Sometimes you get sounds, so you have to sometimes cut things and start again. I'm not doing this now, but you can see there how you get background noise that you don't want. So don't think you can film something once or 3 times and get it, because you might not be able to. But one of the disadvantages with filming something alone is that people will make noise. If there's a lot of you, it might make it different, but one person filming something, people don't, you don't really have any power over the sound, so you just have to wait till there's no sound. That's all you can do, yeah. Okay, but like I said, hopefully people will realise that, you know, a one-man endeavour is fine, you can do it like that, you know. Maybe this is a different way of doing an anthology film. I think it probably is, which makes it simpler to do, and it means that other people do more of them, hopefully, but other people will as well, you know, to get more of these films out there, or just more out, because let's be honest, there's not really that many anthology films around. They do get released, and you do get small companies making them, normally with still quite a large number of people. But, you know, you don't get that many of them anymore, which is a pity, because I think it's a great format. And it's a great thing as well, because you get to move on to another story and so on. You know, they've got an attraction which a lot of your other films don't have. But I suppose you can also stop it as well if you want after, and then come back, you know. You know, the cup of tea friendly, aren't they? You can go away to make a cup of tea and then come back to do it. So that is a progress that I made so far. But like I said, that's the thought in my mind at the moment. What do I do with the scenes? Do I post the scenes as clips to promote the film? And if I do that, do I do it now or in the future? Well, my name's S. Rob, and I'm now signing off from part 3 of the making of Horrormail. There will be a part 4 and so on until the film is finished.